everyone. Welcome to another episode of People I Know, Like, and Trust with me, Diane Scabaloni. And today I always say this, I'm super excited, but I can't help it. I'm super excited. I have with me Barbara Brutt, who is this lovely woman that I met while doing her mortgage loan. And it was so cool. Like, I just felt this automatic connection with her, even when we initially met online, just through email. She emailed me and said, "Hey, the branch that I need to talk to you." And right away, we just connected about chocolate and just really, we had such a fun conversation. And so now she's in her beautiful home and she's here doing the recording with me, but she's into art and graphic design, and she is an author as well. And so we just connected on that level. And then she is also an aerialist. So she is just someone that is totally stepping into her truth, totally happy and joyful, and taking risks and doing some amazing things. So I just wanted to have a conversation with her, and you can join in. So welcome, Barbara. It's so great to have you here. Thank you.
I'm really excited to be here. It's nice to catch up again.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So tell me a little bit, tell everyone about yourself and, what we do here, as you know, is we talk about encouraging things. We share our experiences about our life and maybe some aha moments that you had. Certainly there has been an aha moment. Let's talk about your author work now. By the way, guys, I read her book called Teal. I just want to make sure I get this right. Teal Paisley Tights. I read it on vacation. It is so fun and uplifting, and this beautiful love story. And I get laughed out loud at the beach. So it was so good. So tell us about your, how you got into wanting to write.
Well, for me, it came from reading. I was and am a voracious reader. Ever since I was a kiddo, I just read all the time. And, as a kid, you get dragged around to a lot of different things. So I always had a book in hand. And so I read so much. I was disappointed to find out that adulthood does not have as much time for reading as I was sure that it would. As a kid, I was like, yeah, once I'm an adult, all I'm going to do is read. False. I'd still read a lot. I just wish I could read more. But yeah, so what happened with that is when I was in college, I originally went in for English education because it seemed to make sense, English, my love for reading. I'm pretty good with kids. And I was like, yeah, that'll work. But as I got into the classroom, I was like, whoa, these kids don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. You don't love English. I love it. And I was like, this is the thing that really aligns with what makes my heart sing. And so I switched my majors kind of to the horror of more practically minded people. And I went right into English, just English with a writing concentration. And there was a professor there who she was like, have you ever considered writing a novel? And I was like, oh no, I couldn't do that. That's, I read, but I would never. She's like, well, if you'd be interested. And so I was like, well, why not? So I started writing. I did a private tutorial. And that's when I was age 20, the first draft of Teal Paisley Tights was written. And then it took about, 9 more years for it to see the light of day. Yeah, so that's a little bit about, I guess, my movement into the writing world.
Oh, neat. And you have other books too, right?
Yeah, so after Teal Paisley Tights was published in 2018, which if you're local to Pittsburgh, Teal Paisley Tights takes place in Pittsburgh. So it's really fun because let's see, Pasta 2, a restaurant in Bethel Park, it's in there, right? And I love bringing a little bit of favorite locations for me anyway, into that book. So yeah, that was published in 2018. And then in 2020, when the world shut down, I got an email from my publisher in May of 2020, and they were like, hey, we would really like to put together a Christmas collection. Would you be interested in writing a novella to go in our collection? And I was like, okay, wow, yeah, that would be really okay. When do you need it by? And they're like, we want to have it at the beginning of July. And I was like, May, June, what?
Sure.
I was like, I'm like new at this, right? But with like some good advice from other people, they're like, at this stage of your career, you say yes. And I was like, okay, yes. They extended the deadline by like 15 days. So instead of beginning of July, July 15th became the due date. And I just like hit the ground running. Anyway, that came out like November 2020, and I absolutely am enthralled with the story. It's set in Vienna in a Christmas marketplace, and it's just the cutest romance story. Some of my readers have said that they really enjoyed it because they feel like I did a good job of giving the heroine, Matilda, like a lot of agency. And I was like, oh, cool. I didn't even realize I did that. That's nice.
Awesome. So what's the name of it?
It's called Take a Rite at the Mistletoe.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, we're going to put like these little blurbs when we do create the video so that people can connect to that. Oh, that's so cute.
So, and then I'm actually working on publishing, like indie publishing, a small collection of microfiction. I plan on releasing that actually in January, just because. So I was born in January, and I have gotten into the habit of being like, it's my birthday. Here's a gift for you. Here's a gift for you. Like in past years, I've been like, I think last year, no, I didn't do coffee last year, but like every year I'll come up with like a little gift to just give people in my life, which I know is probably weird. But this time I'm like, I'm going to give you a piece of, well, a small book.
That's so good. I love that. I love that. That is awesome. So, what does that mean? I feel kind of naive to what type of, what did you
Oh,
call it again? A
yeah.
micro.
Microfiction. So basically I have this tiny little notebook here, and over the past couple of years I've just been writing tiny little pieces of fiction. And so like as you can see, it's like pretty small. And so I've got a tiny little fiction story right there, and just like I've been writing them just like as exercises for myself to improve my writing. And then
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? I want to like pull all these together because a lot of people have enjoyed like the ones that I've shared with them, and like make it available, like for maybe 99 cents free, like, because more it's, I love it. So I'm like, I just want to share this.
That is such a good idea. And I love that because I know some of our listeners, they have talked about wanting to write or wanting to like have a creative outlet. So what you're saying is it doesn't have to be big. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be a big book. And like when I wrote my children's book, I was like relieved that what was coming out of me with my first book with your friendship with my friendship with doubt was I knew I had to write a book about doubt, but I was like relieved that it was a kid's book and it was pretty easy. So that is really neat to know that to just expand your mindset. Like we just think, okay, well, I'm going to be an author, that then you think you have to write a book like that's this long, and that you have to have an editor, and that you have to get someone's permission to write it, and it has to go through all these layers of approval. And really, like, what's so freeing is it's like it's only your approval, really, which I'm sure you have your people that you've shared it with that have, assisted you. But yeah, that's just so freeing. And the other thing I love what you said, Barbara, was about trusting your people, because I had similar experiences of you that you're like curious and you're like, oh, I kind of, here's what I'm doing. And then you've had people in your life that are like, that give you like this push and
Mhm.
give you like this encouragement. Like your professors, like, hey, have you ever thought of writing a novel? And
Mhm.
that, you trusted your gut, that person, your universe, God, to say, all right, I will do this.
Mhm.
So how did you like because I'm sure in between, like right now we're in the middle of Christmas. And so I think of the Blessed Mother and, Mary, did you know? And, that song. And then, they talk about Mary said yes. So, which was a big yes, to receiving the Holy Spirit and, and having Jesus. So like, what were the thoughts in your head that you had to overcome so that you could say yes to stepping in and being an author?
Oh man. That's a really big question, I think, because like, looking back, it's a lot more clear where like I was, I guess, held back, you could say, just because I think first of all, my desire was to be traditionally published.
Mm.
And so I think it's really important to know what you want, right? Because that, like, if you want to be traditionally published, that comes with its whole list of like approval system, right? Um, but if you don't, like, it's like each of those, like, you need to know where you're going, and then you know more about your battles. um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think. Ooh, but I still haven't answered the question. Um, I think I really was afraid at the beginning that people were out to get me. Um, and that if I let like you read my story before it was like in like the editor's hands, like maybe you would steal my story. And I'm like ashamed that I had that mindset, just and I'm like, where did that come from? But like, that's like an aside. But one of the most freeing things was realizing that no, most people aren't out to get me. Most people want to help. And like if I like, a lot of writing, people say, is lonely. And like I think that's true, because you do, like, when you are sitting down to actually write the story, you are usually by yourself. Um, but like when I realized that I could invite trusted people into the story writing process, it became so much easier. Like with Teal Paisley Tights, I really did that very much alone, even though I had like a professor that believed in me and like a couple of friends that would like brainstorm with me. But like I really felt like I did it on my own, which like that's like I also like hired a writing coach and stuff. So I wasn't like completely by myself. But what changed between me and or like Teal Paisley Tights, and then so my novella is in this paper book collection, so there's three others in this one. But like what changed between these two books is that in this one I was like, well shoot, I only have a month and a half to write this completely new story and I have nothing. And so I was like, you know what? I have people, they might not be like authors per se, but I have people who are willing to sit down with me and brainstorm. And so I called in all the help. I was like, guys, I'm dying. I need help. Do you like brainstorming ideas? And they're like, yeah, we would love to just hang out with you for like 2 or 3 hours and just like come up with like all sorts of different scenarios. And so friends did, people who aren't authors, right? Like they're not writers, but everyone's creative, and they really helped me create the plot of the story. And then I went in and I wrote it really fast. I wrote it like my sister and I went to New York for like 3 days, like just like rural New York, and like I sat and wrote, and she would like interrupt me and take me on little outings.
How fun.
Yeah. And I wrote really fast. And then when I came back, I was like, well, like I know my publisher is going to take this through some editing process, but I want to make sure that I'm sending in the best story possible. And so I went to my people that I've known in the past, or like my social media, and I was like, hi, big ask. If you want to beta read this, and like you have a week, I'm gonna give you a week, because I have I have so little time, because I'll give you a week. You read through it. These are the questions I'm asking, and like give me that feedback.
Mm.
And a bunch of people were like, oh my gosh, we would love to support you in this. And they like jumped up and they helped, and their feedback made all the difference in the world, because I just want you to know that in Take a Ride at the Mistletoe, I loved my female heroine. She was great. Matilda was wonderful. But the dude that she was supposed to fall in love with, like, he just wasn't coming onto the page like I needed him to. And like, my readers were like, okay, so she's really cool. Matilda is awesome, but who is this Dylan guy? Like, he's kind of awful and we don't like him. And I was like, this is a romance. Oh, no, this can't happen. I don't have time for this. And so like I ended up on the phone with two of the people who had read the story, just being like, I don't know what to do. How do I fix this? And like they brainstormed with me and helped me like create moments where you fell in love with him. Like the reader fell in love with him.
Oh my gosh. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. So it sounds like what's happening is you have allowed yourself to, through this process, to be vulnerable. Because I know what that's like. You know, anybody, you don't have to be an author, any kind of an idea or a thought or a process that's new that you're willing to like share, you are vulnerable. And so you were willing to open yourself up. And then what's really cool is that you were opening yourself up to expand your process to not just you, but to trusted resources, and to, you know, allow that, you know, because sometimes it's tough to get like the criticism and the feedback, and you know, because you're going a certain way, you're like, oh man, I got to start this all over, I got to change this, I want to be done with it. And but when you open yourself up to those critiques, it's amazing how it just is even better. Yeah, that's so cool. So I want to just shift over to like how the aerialist part of you, because I feel like it's probably the same kind of thing. Like, because when we were talking and, you know, and going through the mortgage process, you like just slipped that into an email. I'm like, wait a minute, what? So talk about mind, body, spirit, you know, how does this part of you come into this, the whole body part?
Yeah, so I think I grew up very much in my mind, right? Like that was something that was really valued, is like the intellect. And like I did dance when I was a kiddo. But then so I lived in Austria for a year. And when I came back from Austria to Pittsburgh, where I grew up, I was a little bit sad. I was like, oh man, my life of adventure is over. And that's when I walked into Iron City Circus Arts for the first time. And I was not strong, right? Like I did not spend my life building up any type of physical strength. And I walked in there and like immediately just was like, I love this. I can't do it, but man, I love this. And so
That's good.
a week later, I was back, and I just kept on going. And like it took me, I think, like 3 or 4 months before I could climb, because so the apparatus that I train on the most is an aerial silk. A lot of people will call it like a curtain.
Okay.
But it's just like a long fabric that's hung from the ceiling. And so like to do tricks on it, you do, like especially higher level tricks, you do have to climb. And that takes a lot of upper body strength. So like if I wasn't wearing this sweater, you could see like a little bit of muscle here. Yeah. And so basically I was like, you know what? I want to become good at this. And you know what? This was also a mindset thing, just because like I think I spent, and like a lot of us do, spend a lot of time telling myself I can't do it. Right. And when I first started circus, I was like seeing these classes ahead of me, like higher levels. And I was like, whoa, they're doing some really scary stuff. And it's really requires a lot of strength. And I would think to myself, I can't do this. And then I'd be like, no, that is not the mindset I want. And so I would make myself stop and like rewind and be like, I might not be able to do this right now, but that will be me someday.
Wow.
So it's cool because that was, I would say, like self-fulfilling, because I am now in the highest level that's available at Iron City Circus Arts. I'm in Silks 5, that's the level. And I'm teaching Silks 1 and training to help teach Silks 2. So like it's really been a wild ride these last 6 years.
Wow. literally a wild ride, right?
Yeah,
So
I
you
feel like
really
I
climb
should.
up and then you fold back down. We need to get some pictures from you.
Yeah, I mean, I can send you a video if you want to like stick it over
Yeah.
here in the corner.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. So really what you're saying, and to just like kind of imagine this, is this sweet little girl that just loved to be quiet and read is now like dangerously, after traveling in another country, coming back to Pittsburgh and just really expanding and unfolding, like unwinding and just spiraling. That's just, I love that. I just love that. So what's on the agenda for 2022 for you? What are you imagining? Like you said, you need to know what you want
Mhm.
and and say, all right, that will be me someday. So tell us.
So I think I'm going to step into indie publishing a bit more because now that I've traditionally published, I'm like, I've done that, like I met that goal and I would love to continue traditionally publishing, but I also want a little bit more freedom in like cover design and like storytelling. So like I'll still keep up with like romance and like clean, sweet, but I'm really hoping that I can pull together. I have like this idea, and I'm like, oh crap, if I say it now, right? Like, I need to make sure that um, I would really like to write like a series of romances that are like connected by friendship, right? So, like a squad of like friends, and then we get to experience each of them meeting a partner that they fall in love with. But I want to make it happen in other countries just because I really love to travel. I've been to 27 countries and I really want to bring that in, right? Because I think a lot of people either don't want to travel or they don't have the time for it or the finances for it right now. And that's fine. But like we can travel with fiction, with movies, with entertainment. Like there's so many different ways. And so I'm like, if I can bring like this country into like your hands, like how cool is that?
Oh my gosh, that sounds beautiful. That sounds so cool. I love it. Well, congratulations on all of your amazing successes. And I just can't wait to continue our friendship and just, encourage each other. And I hope people, feel free to connect with you. So do you want to say where people can find you? I know you have an awesome Instagram page.
Yeah. So I would say that I am most active on Instagram. So that's like the at symbol at cordially Barbara. Like, I don't know. I love letters. And so like that to me, that's like how I like to sign them. But you can also find me. I have a website. It's my first name, last name.com. So BARBARABRUTT.com. So yeah, I think that's probably the best place to go because then you get connected to all the different opportunities.
Oh, the facets of you. I love it. Well, thank you for your time today. And thank you for listening. And I hope you've been inspired to live your dreams. Have a great day, everybody.